When this was strictly a policy decision, as much as I hate declaring greenfield or undeveloped field blighted, I wanted to be a good neighbor to the Air Force Academy, and so I was willing to vote for this. That is no longer the case. In the briefing we got from Wynetta Massey about a month ago, the definition of URA is you got to meet 4 criteria. Criteria 1, or criteria 2, or criteria 3, and criteria 4. And criteria 4 says it's supposed to be a menace. It needs to be a menace to public health, welfare, etc. I just do not see that in there. I asked Wynetta said, well, that and could be to the number 3 or. I asked her for the records from, the legislative records from when this was passed. I haven't seen one single piece of paper or word on that. So the way I read it, it's 1 or 2 or 3, and you have to meet, independent of all 1, 2, and 3, you have to meet number 4. Number 4 is what is not being met. And I struggled long and hard on this, but as 26 years as an Air Force officer myself, when General Fogelman was the Chief of Staff, he came up with 3 core values for the Air Force, one of them being integrity first. And I just don't see how, with any integrity, we can stand up and say this is a menace to it. I can't do that. And so I apologize to General Silveria that I can't support him. I want to be a good neighbor. But hopefully he understands, since at the Air Force Academy, they themselves said they will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate anybody that does. And this, to me, is an ethical vote. I cannot declare this a menace, and so I cannot support a URA, and I will not be supporting the URA on this.
Okay, anybody else want to make a comment at this point? Jeff?
I think it's important that we need some clarification here. I know that Ms. Massey provided a briefing to the City Council, but Mr. Knight, I need clarification. Is your sole vote based upon whether or not this is classified as a menace or not? And is that a requirement that has to be met? Is that what your vote is resting on at this point in time?
Yeah, it's in the Colorado Revised Statute. It's part of the law that criteria for us to declare a URA has got to be a menace. And I don't see pristine property. I go back to what Councilmember Pico has said. Otherwise, if that and is entitled 3, you can take the most pristine area of national forest anywhere in the state and declare it a URA.
And Mr. Knight, I appreciate what you're saying here. This is a work session. I think there's some information that is due back to the City Council. We'll provide that to you. But we also have the applicant's attorney here, and Ms. White has had a lot of experience in working on a lot of URA projects throughout the state. She's also worked with CML, has vast experience. And so if there needs to be some clarification as to relates to how that word is actually used and the requirements associated with that word, then we can have the city attorney's office respond. I'm not an attorney. I don't want to profess to be an attorney. And so I think there needs to be a legal interpretation based upon the usage of that word.
Yeah, I'm not an attorney, and I didn't say at Holiday Inn last night either, but it's flat out simple English, and it's separated by a comma, just like all the other ors are separated by a comma. I specifically asked when Ms. Massey said that is a point of deliberation, what is the legislative record of that? What was said by the legislators when they passed that law? And I haven't seen anything on that. And so to me, that and is a separate thing, and this does not constitute the definition of a blighted area.
And Mr. Knight, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I will say word usage in law is very important in how those words are defined, how those words are used. And I've seen in how we respond as organizations across this country based upon very specific word usage. And so we'll be glad to have the appropriate legal counsel respond back to you based upon those specific concerns. I just wanted clarity that your concerns is resting solely on that use of the word.